Well, we're going to get started here. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamin Rogovoy. I am the Senior Vice President of Client Delivery for Evolver, and then we're excited to be here today. I see some people joining, but as I said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, thanks for joining over your lunch break and to talk here about our webinar. Today is about data protection's new landscape, and very excited to present this to you today. I'm sure you're gonna have questions, and if you do, there is a question box that you can enter them in, and then we hope to hit them at the end of the webinar when we get a chance. Okay, next slide. All right, so for those who are not familiar with Evolver, we are a leader in cybersecurity and IT transformational solutions for commercial, government, and state and local clients. We've been in business for over 20 years and have several capabilities here listed on the slide, and we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Next slide, please. Okay. Today, I'm excited to introduce our two presenters. First, I'd like to introduce Chip Block, our Chief Solutions Architect from Evolver. Chip is a luminary in the business, highly respected thought leader in the areas of cyber research, development, and operations. Also, our partner, Galaxy, Richard Oliver, who is a project specialist and consultant advisory in their advisory organization. And now I'll hand it over to Chip.
Thank you, Jamin. So this year, it is estimated that companies are going to spend over $219 billion on cybersecurity. And at the same time, the cyber criminals, not to mention nation states, are going to make over $10 billion in money by attacking systems around the world. And by all indications, both these numbers are rising. Folks, what we're doing isn't working. We can't keep this pattern going. This is just not a pattern that is sustainable for the well-being of IT systems around the world. So why is it what we're doing isn't working? Well, I'm going to take you back to what those of us who've been in the cyber world forever have all been taught, that the current cyber approach, that the way we're going to stop cybersecurity issues is there are threat actors who are attacking networks and devices, and from that, they're stealing and locking data and destroying it. That's and if we can stop that, if we can disrupt this chain, then we will be protected. That's what we've all been chasing for years. Here's the problem. The problem is there's almost an unlimited number of attackers, not just human attackers, but bots and other capabilities that are coming at us every minute of every day, all the time. Secondly, there's no more defined network anymore. Where we used to have our offices, we had our network devices. Now we have everything from mobile devices to the cloud to laptops, even things such as cars and cameras. Everything's everywhere. There is no defined network. There's no boundary, as the term has often been used. It's gone. Everything is everywhere. And then on top of that, we're creating massive amounts of data. There's like this thing, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data were created in it every day in 2020. That number has done nothing but gone up. The scale of this problem makes the current approach completely infeasible. I use this as an example. If those of you who follow, CISA puts out a list of what's known as the known exploited vulnerabilities. When they first came out with this, it was like 33 things that had to be fixed right now because they were known exploited vulnerabilities. That list is now almost 1,000 elements long, and there's new ones being added every day. We can't just keep chasing every vulnerability and every network problem. It's just physically not going to work. So what if we became less reliant on the networks and the devices? What if we're able to actually protect the data no matter where it went? So if the network doesn't exist, but the data still moves, we can still protect it. What if we made it so that when the attackers were successful, instead of getting millions of documents for millions of users, they got one or none? What if we are able to do that? So this concept of doing data level security is something Evolver and those of you who have read my materials over the last several years have been chasing. Done a lot of work. I've written a number of papers and spoken at conferences. We've been pursuing this for several years now, and in particularly trying to get at a granular level of securing data. Not a while back, we were introduced to a company out of the UK called Galaxy, and they have come up with a technological approach to achieving that type of file level independent security for data. And whenever I talk about this, I always get kind of the cross-eyed look. I don't quite understand what you're talking about. So what I'm going to do is show you a very simple example that I think everybody would understand, and then we'll go from there. This is an example I think all of us can relate to.
In all schools, we have teachers, and they have to work with the parents of the students. There are typical situations where the teachers have to share confidential data with parents and sometimes the students. These files are categorized as sensitive data. To achieve file-level data protection, the file must be encrypted so that only the teacher, parent and student can access it. No one else should be able to do that. Well, you can do that today with Galaxy. Let me show you how. Here, I have a K3 assessment file, which I want to share with a parent and the student. I will right-click on this file and then select the Galaxy option to Secure For. I get this dialog box, and I can select the email address of the parent and the student and secure the file for these two users only. If I right-click on this file and go to Properties, you can see the file is now secured for only the three, the teacher, the parent and the student. This means that even if there is a ransomware attack, or if this file falls into anyone else's hands, it's no use. They cannot open it as it's secured for only three individuals. Once you have the file encrypted and secured only for the parent and teacher, you can use any mode to send the file to them. Like in this case, I'm using Dropbox. The important thing is that even if someone accessed your Dropbox, the file is not accessible, as it has Galaxy's proprietary .gxk file encryption wrapped around it. The same would be for Google Drive or any email client. Galaxy has built world-class products to take this file sharing experience to the next level. We have products that provide precisely this functionality in securing emails, securing files, secure workspace, secure e-signatures, and now secure instant messaging. Galaxy provides a seamless layer of data protection and hides all the complexity, making it easy for our users.
So now you understand what we talk about security at a file level. Now imagine this at scale. Imagine this for your every sensitive file across your environment, right? And by the way, as you'll notice, we're talking about doing this with the existing tools that you have, so that if you did have a breach or you did have an activity, each file is individually protected. So if you've been following the news lately, right? This is a best example. Most of the things you have today are encrypting at an application level, not at a file level. So if there is a breach, people are getting everything. In this case, no matter what tool you use, like Move It, which if you've been following the news, you're getting one file. Each file is unique, and each file is protected. So let's talk about how this is actually done and how it actually works. Okay, because if with this capability to control data at the file level and the key being controlled by the data owner, you can do all sorts of things you've never been able to do before. You can make data last for a period of time. I could say this data is good for a week and have it actually meaningless after a period of time. Data can only be seen on certain networks. I could say it can only go to these networks, and other networks you can't see it. You can even do geographic locations. And a powerful thing is you can actually automate enforcement policies such as HIPAA or privacy or GDPR, things of that sort. You can automate those functions by utilizing this functionality. So we're going to now get into kind of the value of what you've done, what we've done. The focus is on the data and who, what, and how it's managed. So that money that you're spending is less and less in chasing every single vulnerability and more about controlling where the data is and how it's managed. So the money that's being spent is less, and the money that the cyber criminals are making is less. And that's the objective of the overall concept that we have put together. But the key to making this work is that it has to be seamless for the users. I'm not talking about something complicated. It has to be affordable for all sizes of organization and scalable to large scale. So now Richard's going to explain exactly how Galaxy achieves those objectives.
Thanks, Chip. Good afternoon. Good afternoon from the UK. Very sunny UK, I might add. Okay, so putting you in control of your data. We do that in many ways, and Galaxy supports this. If I give you one example, you've all sent an email today, I would imagine, at some point, and you might have added a confidential attachment with that email. But you have no control where or who that email has been sent on to. You have with Galaxy, and that's just sort of one example of that. In terms of deployment, Galaxy offers cloud, hybrid, and enterprise. It can be set up for a single user or a multinational corporation. Cloud-based is truthfully our most popular solution, but with hybrid, our clients, they want to manage their keys and their data in-house. An enterprise is really a complete lockdown of all private and public keys and data. And we do have a few clients in the UAE which use that, supplemental clients. You'll see on the right-hand side here, we have 5 products, and that's really our enterprise suite. And this covers really all spectrums of data privacy. You don't have to have all 5. Some of our clients just have workspace, but you can pick and mix, but you can utilize all of them for complete data protection. Our unique proprietary identity-based encryption. How do I explain that? I guess the best thing is really to explain that we don't do generic encryption at Galaxy. When we encrypt a file or an email or a folder, it's encrypted for that specific identity. And we do that by utilizing that person's email attached to their encryption keys. So Galaxy is quite unique in that space in our environment. And never trust, always verify. This is really based on our zero trust architecture. And one example of this, again, and we have many, and there's not the time today to get into all of this, but we have a built-in biometric engine that can eradicate phishing emails. I can enforce the recipient of an email or a shared workspace to biometrically prove who they are before they actually open or they're able to open the email or the file. Let's take a look now at a demo that I've pre-recorded. I say I'm coming from the UK. I didn't want to have any technical issues, so I've just put it together this morning for you, and hopefully it will give you a better understanding of our product.
I appreciate that you've probably never heard of Galaxy. We are certainly new to the US market and excited to be partnering with Evolver. After our encryption architecture was certified by the NCSC in 2020, which is equivalent to your NSA, we were awarded contracts with the Ministry of Justice and the Department for Education for secure file transfer. Clients such as KPMG and GE Vernova also use our services, to name just a few. Our platform is unique in covering every aspect of data privacy, from an instant message to an e-signature request. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll explain just a few of these features. This is a Microsoft Outlook window. I'm sure you all recognize it. Galaxy works within Microsoft Outlook. It sits in the ribbon here. It works just like an add-in within it. So in terms of sending a secure email, if I'm going to send this email to my friend Alice, it's got a lot of information here that is very confidential. You wouldn't want to put this on an email normally. It's as good as popping it on a postcard and putting it in the post box. You wouldn't do that. So this, Bob's going to do the right thing. You see with Galaxy, we've got 3 extra buttons up here. I'm going to click secure and send. I have Alice's full email address there. I click send. That's it. The email has now left the building and it has our secure.gxk proprietary software wrap placed around it. It hasn't delayed you sending that email. You haven't had to send any passwords or anything. It's literally gone fully encrypted to the recipient. So let me just show you how it looks very quickly for Alice in terms of coming in. The email comes in here looking like this. She can open it up straight away if she's already logged in as a Galaxy user, and she can read the email and then she can respond back if she wants to and carry on in a secure environment. If you look at the sent items, you can see that Galaxy is also sat there with our encryption wrap placed around it. So no one can have access even in the sent items folder. We encrypt at device level in that respect. But let me just show you how Galaxy's authorization request works. If I'm going to be sending an email to somebody and I'm going to attach a document here, I'm sending a medical history to Mrs. Jones, I click secure and send. I now just click that I need authorization with that. Now, one of the things we know with cyber breaches is that humans cause a lot of it. There's various statistics out there, but they're very, very high percentages. So what Galaxy is designed to do is really sit in the background and make sure you're doing the right thing, because we are humans, we do make mistakes. Now, when Alice receives that email coming in, she's going to open this email. Let me just show you how she's going to attempt to open it. And it's going to tell her that Bob's asking for authorization for this email. So is she happy to provide that? So yeah, she can't open it without that. So she's going to request it. Yeah, and that's what it tells me now. That's now gone for authorization. So what does this mean in real life? So, well, as I said, I've now going to get an authorization request come in from Alice. And what this actually tells me is that she wants to be authorized to read that email. Now, that's given me another chance to double check the details. So I can just come up here into the ribbon, look at the authorization requests, look at the latest one, came in today, and I can now just go through and double check it's going to the right person. The attachments, medical history, it's Mrs. Alice Johnson. Alice Johnson, it should be Alice Jones. No, I made a big mistake there. So I'm going to deny access for that email. And just confirm that now. Yeah, I want to confirm it. So things like this with Galaxy there, it's just a great way of being able to stop a potential breach in its tracks. Now, if Alice wants to go back and open that email, unfortunately, she's going to get told it's been denied and she can't access that particular email. Even the first email that you saw me send to her, my personal information on it, this email, if I decided now that I wanted to retract that email and not give her access to it, I can right click and I can choose revoke. And what that would mean is that once I say, yep, revoke that email, even though I open that email and you saw Alice read the email, if she goes back to that email now and thinks, blimey, Bob's just sent me his entire digital life so I can access it, and she now decides that she wants to read that email, she can't now read that email. It's going to tell her that it's been revoked by the sender. So that is now going to sit in the sent items up in her inbox, and it's basically digitally shredded. She can't have any access to it. So that's just a bit of functionality with the email side of Galaxy. Now let's just give you a quick sort of overview of our workspace. And this is by far our most popular service out of the enterprise suite of products that a client can have. This is now utilised by, as you've seen, people like the UK government. It's used now by corporations such as GE in the US, GE Aerospace. They utilise it with their contractors within the UK for sharing sensitive data, plans, drawings, etc. So this is the webinar. This is a Volver webinar workspace that I've created just to show you very quickly the principle of how it's set up. It's very, very easy. And I think that's, the clear message here, that organisations like this, the fact that external users don't have to have any software downloaded to use it. They don't have to have any special licenses. It's very clean interface and very easy to train this out. So I create a workspace. I can create as many of these as I want. There's no limitations on it. A workspace, if you like, is just like a data room where I decide, give it obviously a name, a description. I decide whether I want to put a time restriction on it. Now this falls very much into regulations around and compliance, really, certainly for industries in finance, legal, healthcare, where you've got to be able to show you've got data control, that you're not leaving sensitive data forever and a day sat around, that there is some absolute audit trail. And with Galaxy, it does provide complete transparency and visibility for auditing and archiving. So this one here, I've just given it a 1 month access. After that, they can't have access to it. But this is the clever thing about it, that I can decide who I want to give access to, but at a granular level. So here I have somebody at Evolver. All they can do is they can download anything that I place in the workspace. Whereas somebody perhaps I'm working with on this particular project, I can give them full access rights, which means they can edit, delete anything, upload their own documents, etc., download and view who else they're sharing this particular workspace with. They can see the external users as well. Whereas somebody who could be an external person outside of these organisations, I could give them no access rights, which means all they can do is see the information, the file at browser level. They can't download it. They're completely locked out of that information. So this is the workspace. Once it's created, you have the right-hand side here, just confirms who the members are. In terms of actual putting information within the workspace, very, very easy. It's drag and drop, or I can search my PC and upload files and folders. There's no restrictions on the size of the file or folder that I place in here. So literally we've got clients who are dropping in, 50, 60, 70, 80 gigabytes of data and more. No restrictions on that. And also the last thing is that you've got complete version history and a file audit history here. So I can see if it's been opened by anybody, I can see if it's been changed, then I will get various different numbers of versions of that particular document here. So this is Galaxy Workspace, very quick fly around it, but just wanted to show you really how this looks on the day-to-day level. Again, very, like I say, very Windows in terms of using it. So it's easy to train out. People are very much used to sort of right-clicking, creating folders, etc. So this is Workspace, but the most important thing is that anything that's placed in this workspace, like this file here, it would have been virus scanned for malware, and now it has our encryption wrap placed around it. So that's the fundamental purpose of what this secure workspace does. So at storage, in transit, and at rest, the files, the data that is placed in here is secured at all times. So that's Galaxy Secure Workspace. Quick overview on that. So this is the window for electronic signing, our e-signature, secure e-signature product. Now this has become really popular also especially since lockdown, I guess, for a lot of organisations that realise the importance of getting electronic signatures during that time. And Galaxy is great for that because in terms of security for our customers that have the platform in-house, the file doesn't go anywhere for signing, it stays in your network, in your environment. And that is really important for a lot of our clients, especially our clients internationally, who don't like the idea of very confidential documents being sat on a server out of the country. So here it's just a case of searching for the actual file that you want to send for the quote. Again, like I keep saying, everything with Galaxy is designed to be very straightforward, very easy to use, simple message, subject header. I've already pre-populated it here to go to Alice. I can add as many signatures as I wish to if I wanted to. I then just click next. Then it's a case of just deciding where I want the signature to be placed. I've got all the usual headers here that I can also use if I want to, but for the moment, keeping this very simple, I'm just going to be using it. I'm just going to click it in there. And that's it. Once I've done that, I start the signing process. It just double checks I'm happy to get going. I say absolutely. That's it. Now Alice is going to receive an email telling her that a document has been sent to her for signing. Again, you can do as many documents for e-signature as you like. There's no restriction on that. So as per some of our competitors, if we don't charge in bundles, this all comes as part of the Galaxy Enterprise Suite. So there's no limitations whatsoever on document numbers there for signing. The idea of today was just to give you a bit of a flavour of the platform. There is a lot more to it, a lot more services that I can be talking about, but we are planning some more webinars over the next month or two. So do keep your eyes peeled. Okay, with that, I'll hand you back to Chip. Thank you.
So thanks for joining. This is one of our first webinars with Galaxy, but Evolver is a true end-to-end IT transformational company. Not only we can do the Galaxy implementation, cyber consulting, security assessments, and policy development when it comes to cyber services, but a host of other capabilities we can do. So please reach out to us if you have any of those needs. Here's our contact us slide. We're going to be reaching out to you as well, but if you're interested in the product and you'd like to do the 6-month trial, please email us at the email address below. Check us out on our website and look out for upcoming webinars as well, from regulatory and compliance, deep dive into other functionalities and industry-specific demos. That's all we have today. Again, thanks for joining. Chip, Peter, thanks for joining and taking your time today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.